And we're back with Truth Unrestricted, the podcast that is creating and interpreting the language of the disinformation age. I'm Spencer, your host, and I have a special guest today. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm Ross. Some of you might know me from Twitter, where I specialize in mocking, well, what seems to be what passes for reality with some people. And Spencer and I have known each other for it's maybe about...
I don't know. Who counts
too
time
long.
anymore?
Too long from there. So that's how I come to be here with all you, with you and your lovely listeners.
No one measures time anymore.
No, absolutely not.
Every year is 10 years now. It's fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we're here we're going to talk about American influence on Scottish culture from a non-professional perspective. We're not anthropologists. We're not sociologists. We're fine, unless you are, in which case you don't need to say, I don't know. I don't know what you do, Ross.
No.
But yeah, we're just two dudes chatting. That's...
Yep.
I think that podcast name was taken, is why I didn't name it that. I used to use the tagline of the podcast that I was. It was a podcast that had a name. What did I say? It was a podcast that would have a better name if they weren't all taken. Was how I. It was much more clever than my current one. But
the current one works.
I kind of wanted one that was more describing what we were doing, what I was actually doing here. But after the pandemic, everyone started a podcast during the time they had off, and many of them had 2 episodes only, and then they stopped. But all the names were taken, it seemed, and I was like stuck.
Yeah. Well, but I think you've done well enough.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if I. Well, at the end of days, they'll have determined that. So, cultural influence across borders is a thing that's been on people's minds more lately, especially in Canada. Mm-hmm. Americans who have an unspoken idea, a sort of unspoken idea that if people in another nation act like they do, like Americans do, then that nation might as well just be America, right? And why do we have this border between our countries when you're acting just the way we're acting? And the only reason to have a border is so that you can act differently than we act. Which is a strange... Well, I see the look on your face. It's a strange... but to average, ordinary people, some of them anyway, this is a thing that's across their minds. Yeah. Especially lately, since we have experienced a person who's started to say words that were previously only a joke, which are 51st state, right? So this is why it's generated a lot more conversations in Canada about this. Mm-hmm. But there are similarities between Scotland and Canada, and I think we should start there.
Definitely.
We are both nations that share a border with more populous and economically powerful nations that do culturally affect us and have been militarily belligerent to us in the past.
Yes, I would.
To different respects, right? To different degrees, right? Yeah. But those are very direct similarities. And I think a lot of people don't think about Scotland, even from here. A lot of people don't even think of Scotland as a separate country than England. But it is. It has its own parliament. It has its own leader. By the way, I didn't bother to look up who your leader is and all that stuff. I don't.
Currently it's still the Scottish National Party, and I believe it's John Swinney is the current First Minister. But that might all change next year when we have another election.
The thing I love about the parliament system that we inherited from the British is that there's someone in charge. It's usually a guy, so I say a guy in charge. But someone's in charge. But if they weren't in charge, it'd be someone else. Yeah. And there would be immediately someone else. It wouldn't be any hesitation going, oh no, suddenly
Yeah.
look around.
Well,
Who's going to be in charge? No.
It's that old classic of nature abhors a vacuum, I think, Spencer.
And it's
So-
not even like in the U.S. they have this system where they have like two people. Yeah, we know exactly who's in charge. The next guy's in charge, but there's still a bunch of lag, and this guy, you know. But there's, you know, we have, I don't know, Canada 300 and some odd, you know, ministers. They would all be in charge one after the other on down the line, and if you were really going to try to take them all out, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's the sort of
they
thing
would just
that-
hand the conch off one to the other till it, yeah.
Yeah, in my experience, it's the sort of thing where, you know, like those ideas only came up in Tom Clancy novels.
Well, okay. Those ideas have roots in people who make obscenely long lists of how far down the chain you are on like things like monarchy lists and this sort of thing, right? Which used to get much more complicated. I think
Yeah.
the few monarchies left in Europe are less related than they used to be.
Yeah.
But how complicated were those lists when you looked at, okay, in England the monarchy has this list, and then in, you know, Spain the monarchy has this list, and that many of the same people in both lists, but on different positions because of their, you know, and then in wherever, I don't know, Sweden, also a list, and it's got many of the same people again, but in a different order. Yeah. So it's like, oh, I'm fourth on the monarchy list for England, but I'm ninth in Sweden, and I'm 16th in Spain. Like,
Yeah, you can
at some
understand
point,
get bored of it.
at some point you realize they're all inbred, and no one's allowed to say it because they're the people in charge.
Yeah, you're not allowed
Yeah.
to state the obvious for
But
some strange reason.
This was the seed for the idea that we should have these obscenely long lists for who's in charge, as to know who's next if there's a thing, right?
Yeah.
If all those people die all at once, we'll never know who's in charge. Like, come on, man, someone's gonna step up and be in charge. Like, relax.
Yeah, because then, like, the flip side of that is you get that John Goodman film, King Ralph.
Yeah, I never did see that, but long lost cousin who lives in the United States.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we've nobody else left, so the line of succession would be this guy. Okay?
Yeah. King Ralph. Yeah, so we have these similarities between our countries. By the way, we also have, I believe, still all under the same king, right? We're both
Yes.
Commonwealth nations, as it were.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how
Both
you
with a
can-
king that claims ownership of us. I believe he's more absentee here than there. Which
Yeah, I think the now, if I remember rightly, obviously you guys have been sort of similar, but they're now constitutional only, so all they do is sign off, you know, like parliamentary decrees into law, and
Right. So is there, like, we have a similar thing here, except that we have someone who's appointed to that position, a governor general. And that's all they do is just sign it at the very end. They check it to make sure there's no spelling mistakes, I guess, probably, I assume. And then, you know, I think I heard somewhere, there's a rumor that they're obligated to not allow war with other Commonwealth nations, but that's only a rumor. No one's ever tried it, right? I can't find it written anywhere. Yeah. And of course, the Governor General used to be in Canada, used to be someone from England. This used to be a position that was appointed, given to high-ranking people until this became, I think it actually stopped in the 50s. This became a thing where Canada went, no, screw off. We're going to have our own Governor General. We'll
it's
get
like we're
somebody.
going to do this
You'll
ourselves.
appoint them. You'll appoint who we say you appoint. How about that? You don't have to pay any attention to us.
yeah, but that's better. It makes you guys should be more in charge of your own stuff because you
It
live
still
in.
took years before we could make our own laws according to our own thing because we
Yeah.
didn't have our own constitution.
That's a strange thing, and
Well, it's a strange country, but we're not here to talk about all Canadian history. We're here to talk about this. So, the king actually signs off. He doesn't have a governor general that is appointed. to it?
no, it's that's what the Two Houses of Parliament Act has. So
Yeah, we have the
lower
two
one-
houses.
Yeah, so it's pretty much. I believe it's your guys' system similar to
Yeah,
ours.
yeah.
Copied.
We essentially just copied the British system.
Yeah, I think lots of people did, or we
Yeah.
exported it to them by force, which was
Yeah. Well, it was given to us without a choice, right? The same with Australia, and I believe the same thing is true for New Zealand. I haven't looked in there, I'm pretty sure. A couple other African nations, I'm sure, do the exact same thing for that same reason. I didn't bother to look up who.
No. I think it's one of those ones. If it's not
Yeah.
immediately a pressing thing on you, you maybe don't. Or you're
Yeah,
not-
this system works good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we don't go into the flaws with it because that'll take too long, and then we're too picky. So it's like, yeah, it works.
Yeah, if
overall.
it works, yeah, and it works. It's
Yeah,
and nothing particularly oppressing about the system, unless they guarantee that their influence is pushed through the system, which it doesn't really allow for that. So
no, I think that's
Yeah.
one of the sort of the bits that they like to claim, their independence and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, they try to say like, oh no, they can't, they can't do X and Y. We don't do it here the same way they do it there, and other such.
yeah, there's differences. There's I think Australia they vote in their senators, the
Yes.
upper house, as it were. Our senators are appointed for life, which is, I think, similar. I believe this is the analog of what's in England called the House of Lords,
Yes,
which was essentially a compromise that had to be made when they first made this system. They're like, okay, we're going to have representation from the people, but the Lords still got to have some power here, right? Like, where are these guys fitting in? We can't just tell these guys to go retire.
yeah.
So, okay, well, you can just review it and sign off. Like, okay, don't cause a lot of fuss.
Yeah,
And then in Canada, we're like, we don't have any lords. Who are we going to have sit in this extra house? And no one needs that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well, we'll just appoint them the way they appoint them there, and just, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that's a good thing because I know it is something that we've been trying to reform for years. Because if they're not appointed, the other side it's inherited. And
Yeah.
that's another conversation entirely.
Inheriting political positions is something we try to get away from. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's never worked out bad.
No. As many flaws as democracy has, it's still not locked to a potentially insane family line. Yeah.
Yeah, and having looked at some of the other alternatives, no, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the alternatives already. Yeah. We'll muddle through. I tell you what, it's a lot of work, but we'll muddle through. Yeah.
It's not broken, so we don't need to fix it for now.
It's not perfect, and you know what? It's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. Yeah, we're not these crazy people now who are talking about going back to monarchies and whatever.
Yeah, particularly.
We're not doing that. That's not happening.
No.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Especially when you were founded as being anti that. No, I don't think that's going to work, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hate to be, the party pooper.
So back to our topic now that we've meandered off significantly. We have a situation where you've had a culture in Scotland, your own culture, for a very long time, and it is much older than Canada's nation and culture, if you don't count all the Indigenous people, right? So in Canada, we have this situation where some people are trying to give actual, full set of recognition to Indigenous people. Other people are trying to just claim the length of time they were here as some kind of cultural rights to it lasting for tens of thousands of years, and other people are just trying to ignore the idea that they're here at all or ever were. And it's this complicated situation we deal with. You are the Indigenous people of your nation, really. Yeah. You weren't. I mean, someone could almost say that England tried to colonize you at various points, but it's not exactly. And also maybe that the Scandinavians tried to colonize you at various points.
And the Irish were another one that tried that as well.
Well, they didn't do so with military force, right? They just kind of showed up, didn't they? And
I think they were more Vikings in disguise at one point, and then
really? Oh,
yeah,
that's a part of
and
Irish
then-
history I need to read more about.
And then the other bit I seem to remember is obviously like various bits in history have caused a lot of them, because obviously there was that bond to.
Well, yeah, when they had to leave for famine and this sort of thing,
Yes.
they were like, well, we can't afford to go very far. Where's that leave us? Well,
Glasgow was a lot closer than Boston, and I'm no geographer.
yeah, they're like, ain't no way I'm living in Bristol. Let's go to Glasgow.
Yeah, it's like we've more in common with them. They like drinking just as much,
Yeah.
so let's do this.
Yeah, we both hate the British. Let's go.
Yeah, common
Yeah.
ground already.
Yeah. Cousin.
Absolutely, it's a great foundation on which to
Yeah.
build.
Yeah. Hatred of another group. That's common bond.
Kind of similar to like what we did when a lot of our people obviously then came and brought you guys. When we weren't fighting with the French and the Indigenous and other such
Yeah.
such conflicts.
Well, that's another thing we should talk about is that we have a province that, I mean, I'm from the West. Generally, I've lived my whole life in Western Canada.
Right.
Canada's a very, very large nation. I'm almost further from Nova Scotia than Nova Scotia is from you.
Yeah.
And Nova Scotia named specifically as New Scotia.
Yeah.
They have very strong ties to Scottish
they still
culture.
do, yeah.
So when I say some things about how far removed my view is from Scotland, people from Nova Scotia might definitely have a different view. We don't happen to have anyone from Nova Scotia here today, so they'll have to start their own podcast where they talk about this. They'll call you up. I'll give them your number. They'll call
Fair
you
enough.
up. Right. You might have a whole slew of them. Every province might want to have it say, we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, might finally be in demand.
Hey, whatever. But when people from around my parts of Canada anyway, when we view a place like Scotland, we picture like two things and maybe like a mishmash of two things. So it's either Braveheart or just America with an accent. Like, we picture that every place is just like it is in every other place, like here and also the United States. Like Edinburgh probably looks a lot like, I don't know, Minneapolis or something, right? Like, pick any Midwest city, right? It's cold in the winter. It's fairly wet. It's the buildings are tall downtown, right? And they're not as tall everywhere else.
Yeah, but,
Right.
I mean, one of the things that because there's one of the links that where I live close to is obviously, as we were saying about exporting people from us to you. One of the towns was the ancestral homeland of somebody that you might know from Western Canada's history, a man by the name of Tommy Douglas. Other people might know
Tommy
him.
motherfucking Douglas was
Yes.
in 20 years ago. We had a very big the CBC had a very big poll as to who was the their greatest Canadian ever, and my vote for greatest Canadian made it number 2 behind Tommy Douglas. Someday we're coming for you for number 1, Tommy Douglas. I'm in the Terry Fox camp. We're starting a campaign. The next time in 80 years when this comes around, we'll vote it in, and no one better than Terry Fox or Tommy Douglas is ever coming around.
I think we maybe just need to wait until the grandson is not an issue. Or the great
Kiefer Sutherland?
Yes.
It's a very short. Canadians are very proud of the fact that Tommy Douglas's grandson became famous.
Understandable. And the
Donald Sutherland, not a son of Tommy Douglas, a son-in-law of Tommy Douglas, right? Just want to clarify that in case anyone's confused about the family tree that we're, will eventually make of the royal line of Tommy Douglas.
We're not about to become the Habsburgs. Don't worry, folks.
No. You can marry into the Tommy Douglas bloodline. Julia Roberts missed her chance. Sorry, Julia. You ran away from that wedding altar. Sorry, you had your chance.
Yeah, absolutely. But she didn't do too badly.
Yeah. She made out. So, now that we've got all the other jokes out of the way, let's get back to our real topic here. This is fun, though. This is fun.
Yeah. Well, it's just two people shooting the shit. So
Yeah, no, that's good. And you almost made it sound like you say that all the time. That's great. That's really, yeah.
frequently, yeah.
So we have Tommy Douglas. You brought that up, and then I ranted with it. Where were you going with Tommy Douglas?
Well, he is from a town that's near where I was. I was born and brought up, and I still live.
Yeah.
So, because it used to be back when a lot of these were sort of like minor mining towns or foundries,
Yeah.
and he was obviously. So we actually even have, there's a local landmark nearby that has a bust of Tommy Douglas because obviously they want to keep that kind of link
Yeah.
going, and obviously, you know, they're proud of some exports, so
Hey,
why not?
be proud of the ones you should be proud of. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we're not proud of Jordan Peterson.
Look,
At least I'm not.
that's perfectly fair. I mean, Kermit the Frog's a much better Muppet.
But Keanu Reeves, yeah, we'll accept him. Yeah,
Yeah, that works perfectly.
and for that matter, you know what? I don't care what anyone says. I'm proud of Pamela Anderson. She left, she did her thing, she came back, she has a gardening show here now.
It's a big jump up from Home Improvement, but again, maybe I'm showing my age.
Well, she was never on Home Improvement.
No, she was. She was Lisa, one of the Tool Time girls on Home
Was she?
Improvement.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! I don't have to cruise. Oh.
Granted, it was like, you know, the mid '90s, so I can understand why you don't remember. But yeah,
Well, because we many people from Western Canada anyway who care more about this, we proudly have told the tale for decades of our beautiful young lady who gets discovered and gets in a Budweiser commercial, and then from there goes on to be in the one of the biggest shows on television in which people are seen in bikinis. And
Yeah.
she's among the ones who are shown in bikinis. She's, you
Yeah,
know, the number one of them by
one that
many
most
standards.
people
So,
remember.
yeah, and so that was a thing that when I was younger in the '90s and whatnot, that was the thing people talked about. Hey, she's from just down the road. Like she's big time. You know, like
Yeah,
little Canada that points out their celebrities. No, that one right there. No, not that one. That other one right there. Yeah.
I mean, again, if we have to claim, you know, obviously all the people that have gone bad, then technically we have to claim, you know, him that we will not name, i.e., the man who's creating a lot of 51st State-based problems.
He wasn't born there.
No, but his mother was.
Well, okay. Then you're getting down the family tree some more. All right. Well, you know, does the soil that you're born on matter? According to them, it does. So then it absolves you of any responsibility.
To the point that we've made our feelings very clear, and I think we continue to make them clear every time he comes back to visit one of his men.
Yeah. His golf course. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's one of these things that it reminds me of, it's a small world, and we're all human, so we're all kind of interconnected.
Yeah, we're all any one of us could become terrible or angelic based on our decisions. So make good decisions. That's the key.
Yeah, definitely, I would agree with that.
So when everyone just thinks that you're, I mean, do you think of yourselves as being influenced by the cultures of these places? You know what I mean? Like, is that part of a conversation that you have? Do you?
I think so.
Do you have parts of your conversation where, you know, we need to hold on to our own culture?
Yeah, it's. Well, I think it's definitely a thing that we do, because obviously you guys all know we export a lot of it, but we also swim in the same cultural waters themselves and a lot of other countries
I don't know why
around the world, because obviously, you know, your neighbour to the south exports so much of it, and it eventually gets over here, or in some cases, you know, you guys or we do it first, and then they just import it and copy it. So it goes both ways.
Yeah. So we have this sitcom conundrum, right? Where you'll have sitcoms, you'll have TV shows, and then you'll have, you know, you'll have, 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 you'll have You probably have TV shows from the United States, right? And
Oh, yeah,
also
definitely.
England.
Yeah.
And then you probably have some of your own.
uh
Yeah. And then, maybe many of your own don't make it past your own border. They're just shown to you.
yeah,
No one
sometimes.
else knows them.
I mean, I think that's maybe one of the wonders of the internet now is that obviously people can look up a lot of these things and discover them for
Yeah.
themselves. But yeah, when you
Right.
try to maybe explain to them what it's like, they just sort of look at you like, "No, we never got that." And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then obviously, through the miracles of of video sharing platforms like YouTube, for example, you can just then look it up and go right, and then at some point they'll maybe, in some cases, come out and go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. It used to be on the TV like really late at night in like where I grew up," and you're like, "See, we are more connected, and closer than we might think."
Yeah, Canada has in the past at times looked at this close association with America as, at least from an entertainment perspective, as an opportunity. Like we look at the musical acts, the bands or whatever,
Yeah.
and the TV shows that have made it big elsewhere as being ones that are somehow elevated, even though they're in some ways no better than the other ones that didn't make it. It seems to be a grab bag as to which ones become,
Yeah, but
make it past that seemingly thin barrier. But to some influences, it is an insurmountable barrier. They're unable to, I don't know, get the right representation or get the right thugs to beat up radio DJs to get their songs
Yeah.
played, or however it works down there. We don't really know.
I mean, I think of some of some things that start off British. I mean, like if you're familiar with Spaced, that's how like one of the examples that always sticks in my brain is how we made it here. It was a very cult thing, and then I believe it was exported to the US, where they tried to obviously like Americanize it, and it fell flat on its face. And it's like good because there's nothing wrong with the original, which gave us lots of careers. Like for example, Simon Pegg, Edgar Wright, and Jessica Stevenson, who were three of the main like stars, writers, producers, and directors behind it. So it's like sometimes things go and fall and fail, and it's like, yeah, that's a good thing. In some of these cases,
It's possible that they don't like your accent.
that is possible. I mean, Sean Connery can only do so much for one small nation of nearly 6 million people in the world.
Yeah.
And I think we've done a lot. In the past, we've done a lot of damage. Under other flags, shall we say? So it's maybe better if we just say nothing in some cases.
Yeah. Well, and you indicated to me, I'll let people know, you indicated to me before we hit the record button that you were worried that your accent would be difficult. To my ear, it's not. I'll let you know. Maybe some people are like, oh, skip or whatever. I don't know. But there are some accents, some people who speak from Scotland that I see in TikTok or whatever that I can't understand.
Yeah, it's the beauty of subtitles, but again, it's one of the things that I've always found is that anybody, wherever you are in the world, seems to be able to understand the Sean Connery voice, and it's one of the bits I always find is where there's an S, add an H, and you've got an instant Connery.
Yes.
So, and then you can be whatever you want, as we were talking about beforehand. So, it's, you could even be, an ancient Egyptian / Spaniard in medieval Scotland. But enough about Highlander.
Yeah, well, Highlander was a way to, it's a vehicle from which we understood some things about Scotland and made it past. That is a major system. We could hear all about the bagpipes and the kilt, but to actually see them used on the screen for us, it really brought it home to a lot of people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, oh, right, so that's what. Oh, okay, so that's how they used to use them. But again, I think that's one of our sort of the bits is like when you get into the whole bagpipes discussion, it turns out that they have history even further afield in other places around the world. Like, I think one of the ones I remember reading was like India or something like that has a connection to them, and you're just like,
Well,
okay,
India has a connection to the guitar too.
yeah, exactly.
But the first electric guitar was definitely in America, so suck it, I guess. I don't know. They improved it. What do you want? I don't know. Like,
yeah, so it's like if they improve it, they can claim it somehow as their own.
In that way, instruments are then memes, right? You take them, you improve them, and then you push them on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, maybe like the original sort of form of the meme.
Yeah. But I love it. I wouldn't reverse history to get rid of the electric guitar for anything. No,
absolutely not. Because then I think like about
we would never have the Who.
Yeah, and that's I couldn't imagine a world without that. For starters, obviously, all those great albums of music, and then like Simpsons episodes where they appear and things like that. So I mean,
do it for the Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, I might be slightly less brain poisoned as a result, but
well, we're gonna have to suffer through that. We're gonna. That's just part of it. That's just part of it.
Yeah, that's just the soup that that culture.
Yeah, that we're in the stew. That's just part of the stew, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of part of the stew, a big reason why I want to do these influences of America on other countries is to talk about conspiracy ideas in other countries. Like one thing that's kind of this whole idea. I meant to do many of these. So far, this is only the second of these that I've done.
Oh, that's good.
So I have big dreams. Someday I might get there. But it occurred to me that among people who try to push conspiracy ideas about Canada, they're not unique.
No,
they're just exact carbon copies of conspiracies from south of the border that sometimes they substitute other names for, and that's the only difference. It's like a form of a conspiracy, and you just, instead of filling in Joseph Biden, you put in Justin Trudeau at the top. And
infinitely customizable, like
and that's all it is. It's the exact same thing, but with Joe Biden scratched out and Justin Trudeau written over top. And then that was what I was seeing. And then I was like, well, that's exactly like what a lot of Canadian sitcoms was like an American sitcom, but with like it happens in Toronto instead of in New York or whatever. You know what I mean? Like so it's the same idea, just done here instead of there. So
I mean, I think like that would be one of the main ones is you and I sort of both know is how obviously QAnon's an American thing.
Yes.
Popular outside of America and all these countries.
Which makes it super weird.
And it
gives a super weird sense of like, how does that make sense?
But I think some of that maybe ties back to Scotland to a degree and this will be one that you might recognise. Freemasonry, there's various boogeymen throughout.
Yeah, well, that's much older, right? The stigma about Freemasons has started. I mean, it also was present in London, England, many years ago. Probably exported from there.
Yeah, pretty much wherever like British people go, Freemasonry tends to go with them, and thus as a result, the conspiracism.
Yeah, I don't want to because I don't know the true history. Like maybe Freemasonry began in Europe somewhere outside England too. I don't even know. Right? It's supposed to be this kind of like a. On the outside anyway, like a brotherhood of people that want to, get together to do good for their communities and whatever. And I'm like, oh, great. Okay.
My understanding, although limited, is it's kind of like an early form of trade union advocacy.
Yeah.
Like all the builders.
Which
were in that
in the age where people were trying to push back against unions, this would explain why they had some level of secrecy involved. And then that secrecy in turn is a thing that other people later say, you know, why do they got to be so secret?
Yeah, totally. What
are they building in there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anything that you don't understand, it seems, rather than
anything that's behind the curtain is like, anything could be behind that curtain. They could have an elephant back there. We have no idea. Bring the elephant out here for me to see.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, there is no elephant. It's like,
you're lying. No, you're lying.
Yeah,
there's definitely children in the basement right now. You're lying.
We have no basement, sir.
Yes.
Man armed with assault rifle.
I know there's a basement. Bring me to save the children. I did this so that I could save the children. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And yet because that's obviously one of the ones that's quite strange just now, is obviously watching a lot of the Epstein stuff and how many, how a lot of these people who came up, who started off in this whole like save the children sort of angle,
have
done complete 180s and are now like, look, we've got other things. That was yesterday's news.
The very okay. I don't want to timestamp this too much, but a fairly recent episode of this podcast that I did was one in which I played a clip of someone. Do you know who Dean Withers is? He's a American younger guy, does a lot of debates against right wingers.
Yes, the name rings a bell.
He's known for being kind of like a baby face and having a memory that can reel off facts for huge number of things, right?
Sort of the Gen Z.
Yeah. And he does kind of like essentially like a call-in show, but he kind of puts clips on TikTok and whatever. Okay. And where he encourages people who are pro-Trumpers to call in, and then he'll just live debunk them, kind of thing, right? And it's a show, but someone called in and they legit just said, is pedophilia even wrong? Like, tell me why it's wrong. And he was like, he prepares for all the political stuff, but he wasn't prepared for that. He was stumped. Like he caught flat-footed. I shouldn't say he was stumped. He was caught flat-footed. He was like, what do you even mean? Like it was this moment of like, what's happening for him? And you could see it on his face. Like, what is this even? Yeah. And this was, so, I did an episode where we showed it, we explained the thing, and then we gave all the reasons.
Yeah, totally.
This is the reason. And there might even be more than this. Yeah. But like at least these, 6 reasons, like, this is wrong. Don't do this. This is not a thing you should encourage people to do by this soft measure of, is it even wrong? Like, how dangerous is that? Yeah. But this is weird that they come to this point where they were in this to save the children. And now we have some of them saying, well, what would, essentially that would lead to what would we be saving them from?
Yeah, totally.
Which is like, what? Why?
Yeah. And I think if you're not in that mindset or that headspace, you just can't get your head around, like the different logical flips and the gymnastics that they'll have to do for that. And then you're just like, this is
if you don't understand how it is that they can get there, what is their true guiding stone, right? I mean, I consider QAnon, I describe it as a system of continual reinterpretation of events. Yeah. So that around a fixed set of principles, and we might be told at first, like on the surface, that set of principles is about, like you say, saving children, but that's not at all. Its fixed set of principles. Its fixed set of principles is about elevating Donald Trump. Yeah. Essentially, that the man can do no wrong ever, which this turn fits in with that, because if they have to approach and accept the reality that he did do some terrible things, then they have to say it's not terrible. And that perfectly fits in with a continual reinterpretation of events around that fixed set of principles. Yeah. Which is, it's not like people think it's hypocritical, but it's not hypocritical because you just have the wrong measure of what is important to them.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the whole like the religiosity around, like the initial, like the 2016 sort of election of him, when all of his previous, like all the things that don't make him, or any normal person would go, he's not religious. Yet so many of them were able to go, oh no, he was chosen by God. It's like,
right. He's so religious. He's so religious
Yeah.
that we're on a track and he's so far ahead of you on the track that it looks like he's behind you because he's lapping you. He's so religious.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
You're like,
it's just a confusion of the situation, and it's your confusion, not mine. And we know because we know, and that's all we need.
but then it's that
Yeah.
hidden knowledge that, like, is so fundamental to conspiracism that they're like,
Yeah,
well, I
there's
don't think
unknown
you know.
things, and I know the unknown things, and you don't, and that explains why you think a thing that I don't think, and everything's fine.
Yeah, completely. And you're just like, this is making my head hurt.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, just
yeah.
just like exist in your own little bubble or your own little reality, and everything will be fine.
So, does Scotland have are there any Scottish conspiracy notions? Is there any that have come up that are like, no, this could only happen in Scotland or whatever?
I think if I think on that, it's not something that I've really thought about before, because obviously, as we've said, a lot of them are, it's like a salad bowl, like
Direct imports from.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, one of the ones that we have got, or that we've had in various sort of stages, is unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP.
Okay, yeah, right.
So we had a thing I think it was maybe like the mid to late 90s, where, again, a lot of one of the towns nearby, a lot of people thought that it was a haven for UFOs. And it was just one of these ones where it was like, so no matter how much you tried to say to them, well, look, there's private airports nearby, so they'll get flights in and out, at maybe all times of the day and night, and it was one of those kind of things that the ever shifting set of goalposts. So whatever you then try to use to challenge these people, and go,
of course,
these are not UFOs, they would just move it on. And so, I mean, like, my sort of classic one would be lifting slightly from, like, Bill Hicks has a bit about how UFOs travel, like, unlimited distances across the galaxy, and they end up in, like, places, like, say, Fife, Alabama, was one of Bill's jokes.
Yeah, you like to pick on Alabama a lot.
And obviously, I'm guessing he spent a lot of time there. But it's similar to like what we have. We have.
He might have just not liked Hicks. Bill Hicks, I think, hated Hicks, but that was a thing for him.
Yeah, it's quite
I listen
ironic.
to a lot of his stuff, and I think that's a general theme. Oh, hold on.
So apologies for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, we had a little break there, figured it out, came back, but you were just explaining about. There was a town with the UAPs and people saying they saw stuff. Yeah. So the town of Bonnybridge is near where I am, and that was the centre of the Central Scotland's UFO triangle. Mm-hmm. And from what I remember, a lot of the stories seem to begin with, it was late Friday night, and I was just coming out of the pub when, and then. They would obviously been sourced, looked up, seen maybe like a plane or a police helicopter or something like that with the lights, and thought, oh, it's a UFO. And it got to the point that one of the guy who was the local councillor, used to talk about having an alien friend, and he actually recorded like a single. And like, this guy's like quite famous in the local area, or infamous is maybe a better word. But yeah, like, the single was called. So the guy's name is Billy Buchanan. Oh, wow! I might have even heard of that name.
Quite possibly, and I think it was but he came out with a CD single called Billy and the Little Green Men. And he talked about how he had like a sort of an alien friend / guardian angel. And my parents have got a copy of this CD single somewhere in the house because they were friends with him. He was quite active in the local sort of like fitness and running scene, as were my parents. So so I'll need to get it and like listen to it at some point, maybe like see if I can upload it onto the internet.
you essentially have like a would-be influencer looking for some level of
Yeah.
fame, stardom, latching himself onto a local urban legend type of thing,
Yeah,
and
but the
then
scary
it
thing-
boosts it to a much bigger level.
Scary thing was like this guy didn't. This was obviously pre-influencer. Didn't need to be
Yeah,
an
yeah.
influencer because
Yeah,
he was like
right.
a local politician.
No, but he did want his star to be bigger than it was.
Oh, yeah,
undoubtedly. Right.
definitely wanted to like be bigger than his like a legend in his own tea time. But it was just like, yeah, okay. But that was the time where obviously like all that stuff was blown up. People were really into it. It was pre the X-Files and stuff like that. You were just like, and looking back on it now, like it's even got an entry on Rational Wiki about it,
Yeah,
like about the Bonnie Bridge Triangle, and you're just like, yeah, all right, fair enough, lads. But yeah, I mean, it ties in with the whole, like, as we're saying, like that whole Bill Hicks bit, but aliens
they come all this
crossing
way
the
to
universe.
visit small town in Alabama.
Yeah, or small town in Scotland, and then go,
Yeah.
nah, they're not ready for us. We'll just go back. You're just like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But yeah, and I think it's a strange thing, but it just goes to show you like how tied in a lot of it was with like all these cultural phenomenon, like from Area 51. It was like, all right, yeah, we want a slice of that, and you're just like,
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
how this is a layer of culture now that gets brought across along with clothing,
Everything.
style of
Yeah.
building, music, all the rest. This is one of the video
Yeah.
games or whatever you want to have.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just like take it from wherever it
Conspiracies are
started
now-
and
yeah.
and import it and then localize it, and you're just like,
Yeah, just a new coat of paint. It's our thing. These were aliens in kilts, man. What do you want?
yeah, totally. You're just like, okay, yeah, guys, that's I don't have the energy to argue this with you, so yeah, okay, if that's what makes you happy, go for it.
Yeah. So, the best of my knowledge, you don't have like media that you push. You just have a Twitter account. You
Yes,
have
I am dangerous enough with Twitter and Blue Sky, to be honest. Although
Well,
Twitter is
hey.
mostly for reposting these days. Because
Okay.
it's obviously
Well, you
actually
wanna
cool.
just as
Yeah.
we're wrapping up here, give us what those
So
are.
if anybody wants to find me, they can find me on Twitter. I refuse to call it X at in all lowercase, a restless native. So that's obviously just as it's spelt. And on Blue Sky, it's pretty much the same handle, but with .bsky.social at the end of that. And it's mostly attempts at jokes and sarcasm and just like me trying to make sense of the planet.
Well, we don't use the expression here much, but I have come to understand that it is an expression there that you're very often taking the piss. Yeah.
Just a tad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Right.
not in this case, not with you, but yeah. but
No, right, but on social media when you're there. Yeah. Right.
Usually, whenever there's the smirking emoji at the end of a remark,
right.
that's me taking the piss, or that's me
Well.
making a joke, and that's quite commonly used.
Yeah. So on Twitter, again, not going to call it anything else.
Nope.
I'm Spencer G. Watson there. Spencer Watson on Blue Sky with all the other things that go in the end there. .b sky, whatever. I don't even know. And if anyone has any questions, comments, complaints, concerns about anything they hear on this podcast, you can send that email to truthunrestricted@gmail.com. And with that, we'll sign off. So it was
Thanks
great
for having
having
me.
you, Ross. Yeah. Till next time.
Catch you later. Bye, everybody.